I understand that some women want a family and they want to be mothers. I completely respect that. All feminism is doing is telling you that you do have a choice. And I don't believe radical feminism is pushing women into hating the family. It's just suggesting that maybe this doesn't have to be your lot. And some women have internalized values that make them think that this is what they want when really they might not.
So you can
I
leave
really
them
do want a husband and children one day.
Okay,
So,
that's fine,
but
then
what
I
I'm saying to you is the
respect
reason
that.
why I don't like feminism is because feminists think feminism is mandatory. The second you find out that a girl doesn't identify as a feminist, you're up here and you're asking a bunch of questions. I don't like the feminist movement. I think it's become very toxic and very hostile towards men. If you believed in the equality that men and that women should be able to think whatever we wanted, you wouldn't be debating me right now. You'd say, well, more power to you because you'd be a true feminist.
Hello everyone, my name is Nasima
My name is Manuela.
and you're welcome back again to our channel. And today, our episode for today is feminism. I don't know how to say this. I don't know how I'm going to I don't know if I'm going to get dragged for what I'm about to say or what we're going to say because I'm a lady. She's a lady as well. So, but what do you all think about feminism? Do you think feminism is the way forward, or you think it is just a way of, reducing the population of men, or if eradicating the population of men? What do you all think? Anyways, let's watch the video and we'll be able to know more about it.
I just so deeply object to a lot of what you're saying, but at the root, I feel like there's a clear misunderstanding about the core values of feminism. You're saying that it's bitter women, or that it's not allowing men to be men anymore, or demonizing masculinity. I really don't agree with. I don't think there's any value in kind of glorifying toxic masculinity that we have now with making it seem as though being a violent man or anything like that is appropriate. I think it's really damaging.
Would you be able to phrase it as a question? Sorry for the panel.
Oh, okay.
I can say a couple of things back and we can have a discussion about this. So first and foremost, you started by saying, I feel like it's really important that we know what you think like, because a big problem is that people are thinking or are feeling and they're not really thinking anymore. Secondly, you brought up toxic masculinity. I believe toxic masculinity exists, but it exists inside of radicalized feminists, right? Where they're thinking that they should be able to own and control society because they're marching in the street with pussy hats and saying that they demand justice for a free and fair election, like they did with Donald J. Trump. I don't like this trend where we're trying to turn men, and you call it, masculinity is masculinity. I like masculinity. Masculinity is actually the one thing that saved me in life. I was grateful to have my grandfather, who was the strongest example of what it means to be a man, right? And because of that, having that structure, it actually saved me because he taught me personal responsibility. He taught me to have a relationship with God, right? And yes, he's a man's man. He did everything with his hands. He worked on a sharecropping farm from the time he was 5 years old. Today, that archetype of what a man is being taught that there's something wrong with it, that there's something that's implicitly violent about being a man, and that's wrong. And I think the people that are harmed the most by it, by the way, are women. Women are harmed the most. When you break down men and strong fathers, we are the ones that suffer the most.
And also, can I just say that, men commit suicide at faster rates than women. Women actually live longer than men. Most men are actually in prison, and most men, more than women, are homeless. So
women graduate more from college.
There are more women
In what way are we
in
suffering? What
university.
statistic do you feel that women are suffering and men aren't? Because there might be a meninist. There might need to be a meninism movement.
You have a female prime minister.
I would just say, there's a lot of things to address there, but to begin with, what you say about having a strong grandfather, a male figure, if you're saying that you've internalized these things, these messages that he taught you, then surely there's nothing inherently masculine about those qualities. I don't understand how you're defining masculinity.
I don't understand how you're defining it.
Yeah, why don't you
define it?
Why don't you define it?
Because you're the one that so you should define what masculinity means to you.
Well, it depends. I would say masculinity now, obviously just being a social construct, literally nothing more than a set of expectations that are placed on someone.
So then how can you call it, if it's a social construct, how can you call it toxic?
because social constructs can be toxic.
if-
If you have a
if-
patriarchal society that is sending a message that men need to be dominant or they need to be, I know you don't like the word violent, but I think there's something violent about it.
About
then-
masculinity.
No, about the sort of masculinity that we have now, this toxic.
What sort?
What makes that a construct, though? In order for something to be a construct, it has to begin as a norm, which a majority amount of people follow. A
It
majority
doesn't.
of
If you
people
have a
have to-
patriarchal
have to
society
carry-
that is sending messages that men need to possess certain qualities, and I believe the qualities that they're suggesting should be adopted are bad.
But
Which
for-
quality? I
I
just
think
need to
that
know what exactly you've seen when you've said that is an example of toxic masculinity.
I think men feeling that they need to dominate spaces physically and speaking over women, interrupting women, belittling them.
Yeah.
Do you see how good I'm being?
I mean, you can.
So, just a question. So, you just said when men interrupt and dominate spaces. Were you a toxic feminist when you interrupted me when I was on stage?
No, I was interrupting something
I'm just asking.
that I fundamentally don't believe in.
I'm just asking because you're saying that somebody interrupting someone is now a symbol of toxic masculinity. You just interrupted me on stage, so are you a
I
toxic
wasn't
feminist?
interrupting you because I didn't.
You went bullshit.
Yeah, because you were.
Bullshit.
Okay. I don't believe in toxic masculinity. I believe that there are, as much as there are bad men, there are bad women. As much as there are bad good men, there are also good women. I had a good father, so I can't speak for everybody. I know a lot of people have bad fathers and all of that. But what she's talking about here is feminism. And I can understand her from what she's saying. And she's saying that, men are dominant. They have this ideology of, I'm a man, so I should be doing some certain things. I should not be found in the kitchen. I should not be found in some kind of places. A woman is not meant to be a president, and that is the ideology of some men. And when it comes to what she said, the lady said, I can totally understand it, but calling masculinity toxic is a whole different game changer, because it can't be toxic. No matter how feminist you want to be, you will marry a man. That is if you want to. If you want to procreate, you will have to marry a man. So how can masculinity be toxic if you're finally going to end up as them, with them, and you're also still going to have them as father figure for your kids?
Yeah.
So the whole thing of eradicating masculinity is a totally different level. I can sit down and understand the part of, okay, some men are bad, dangerous, and they like to oppress
Yeah,
women.
authoritative, yeah.
Yes, and don't give us a
They used to
chance to
yeah.
work, school, explore. I can understand that, but eradicating men in general is it's no. It's a big no for me. I'm sorry, feminists. I'm sorry, but let's be realistic. So, what do you have to say about it?
I think she's right. She's both right and she's wrong.
Mm.
She doesn't really understand the meaning of masculinity. You understand?
Yeah.
She's getting it wrong. So I feel, yeah, men used to belittle women in some aspects. Some men are authoritative.
Yeah.
Some men, I think she made the wrong ones.
Yeah.
So she's just having that mentality.
Yeah. The problem is that majority of men have this ideology of, I was born to
I
be
am
a
the
leader. I must
man.
be a leader. I must be first
Yeah.
before the woman. So if a woman wants to be anything, I have to give permission. The man has to give permission first before that can happen. But that has been happening like hundreds of years now. And that doesn't mean that masculinity is toxic. We still need male to lead. I would want to marry a man that's a leader. I would not
Yeah.
want to lead. As much as I want to be a feminist, I still want to be treated as a woman.
Yeah.
I don't want to take on the position of a man, because if you take on the position of a man, you are no longer a woman. You're now a woman in man dominated field. That is how it is. If you're a woman that has to take care of the house, do the hard work, take care of the kids at the same time, lead, think for the
That's
family,
weird.
it is wrong. It
It's
will not make you
wrong,
to
yeah.
function and be yourself as a woman entirely. So I feel like everybody has their roles to play, and because of there are some bad men, we shouldn't use that to generalize all men. I don't know if I'm on the right
Yeah,
path.
because not having a good father figure, like
Yes.
growing up now, I feel she has that mindset. That's what's in her mind. So she
Mm.
doesn't understand the real meaning of masculinity.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
another thing that she
so-
said, I think she has this ideology of if a man asks a lady for something and she's not able to give it, he has this tendency to take it by force. For example, forced marriage, rape, not giving the opportunity to work.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
She's trying to pass on a
Yeah,
message, but
yes.
she's not putting it in
In
the
the right way.
Yeah.
So, and when it comes to the issue of rape and men raping women, it's a serious case, especially in I think which country, India. Yeah, the rape case there is very, very high. But on the other side, we should also know that women rape men.
Yeah.
Men get treated bad
But
as well.
that's not masculinity. Yeah.
Yes.
She's not understanding it.
That is just a man being bad.
A man. Like this masculinity means a man being a man.
Yes, a man
Becoming a
being
leader,
a man.
like
There's only so much that a woman can do, but a woman cannot do everything. But a man has the ability to contain the situation. There's sometimes I can't.
but
There's a problem. I can't think. I'll just
but
ask my
this
man. Please
aspect of
think.
she's saying a woman competing with a man for presidency, I feel it's not bad.
It is not bad. A woman
Not
can
bad.
compete in but a man telling you you're a woman, you can't compete, you can't become a president
That's
is totally wrong. I can understand that, but you saying that masculinity is toxic. Check the meaning of
She's
toxic.
trying to pass on a message, but she
Yes,
doesn't
but
know
I feel
how
like
to.
her message should be women should be given some kind of rights to work, rights to vote,
Make
rights,
decisions,
yes, rights to
yeah.
make decisions. But you saying that no, you want to eradicate the presence of men entirely, you're going to finish the whole population.
Shit.
Because you were talking bullshit. I didn't interrupt you because you're a woman. I interrupted you because I didn't
Maybe-
believe what you were saying. It's not that I didn't believe
But
what you were
maybe
saying
that's what
because
men
of
do
your
sometimes?
femininity.
Is it
I
possible
was
that men
disagreeing with
sometimes
your
interrupt because they disagree with what women are saying and not because they're toxic masculinity in the air? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Is that you're coming up with terms and sometimes people just interrupt. I'm fine with the fact that you're interrupting me. It happens all the time and I'm not holding that against you. I'm just using it to prove a point that you've created an entire concept around when men interrupt women, but you literally just interrupted me and you don't identify as yourself as a toxic feminist.
No, because I interrupted you on the basis that I didn't agree with the politics you're espousing, both of you.
Well, maybe men
Not
are
because
just
I don't
disagree
believe
with
in
what
what
you're
saying
saying.
because you're a woman. Then the fact that you're a woman is completely irrelevant to me.
But maybe
what
it's
you're
irrelevant
both
to men as well when when they interrupt people.
That's
Men
not the
interrupt
case.
other men. Men interrupt
That's
women.
not the case.
We're
There's
society.
a culture of men's voices being valued more than women's. And
What
so-
is your metric for
Give
this?
us one piece of data.
Yeah,
One.
like a data.
Any piece of
You can't
data.
just say there's a culture of men interrupting women. What's your data point for
Any
this?
kind of interpretivist data where you're looking at interactions, at dynamics, you can see. I mean, what do you want me to say? Like a
Like a
statistic?
fact?
Yeah.
Any fact.
Any kind of.
How about
any
the
kind
stuff
of
Dominique
analysis
A
or
recent huge
observation of
cultural example,
interaction.
maybe?
So can I ask a question? Do you think we live in a patriarchy?
Yes.
Why do women live longer than men? Why are men more likely to commit suicide? Why do women
I'll tell
compose
you- I'll
50+%
tell
of
you
college
Why do we
graduates?
control 89% of the spending power within households if men are the ones that are going out and making all of the money,
Because
as we like to
women
say?
have the sole responsibility of caring for the house and the children.
So
that
it's a
they're not
patriarchy that
working.
allows women a lot of responsibility.
Within a household, within a certain sphere, not a powerful one. The household is not.
Then
a
why are
powerful
majority of
sphere.
business startups women, majority of master's degrees, and majority of
And
doctorate
also,
degrees
can
in
I
the
say,
States?
the thing about women living longer, married women live the least long. Unmarried women live longest because they do not have the responsibilities, the emotional labor of being
Marriage
with a
is
man.
emotional labor.
Pardon?
Marriage is emotional labor for women, and that's.
That's a great point.
What? No, because the way that women support men, like, it's a huge
thought we
burden.
live in a
They support each
I'm
other.
not saying no, they don't. No, they don't. I'm talking
But so
about.
this is sort of, I appreciate the discussion that we're having. You're such a perfect reason for why
Because
I
you're all
could never be a
emotion.
feminist
No
because
facts.
everything that I just couldn't. It's like You don't really know why you're calling it toxic. You did the
No,
exact
I
same
do.
thing,
I
but
know
you've decided that
exactly
when
why I'm
men
calling it
interrupt, it's
toxic.
because you're a woman. But you decided that when
it's
you
not.
interrupt, it's just because you had a differing
You asked
opinion.
me for one example.
I know,
of
I know,
toxic
I know. And then
masculinity,
you
and
say
I
stuff
told
about
you
the
people
marriage and
interrupted.
breakdown as an emotional labor. There are women, just so you know, that aspire to get married and have children and stay at home and raise
that's
good
okay.
children. And
I
that's
agree.
okay.
It's completely
So, but why are you now making it seem like that puts us in a position that's less than man? Want to create a society? Be the person that raises every individual that's in society. Feminism has made it seem like there's something wrong with being a mother, that there's something wrong with being a wife. And everything that you've just said is that. You have. It's not emotional labor. I want to have children. I want to raise my children. I don't want to be the CEO of a company and not have a husband. And that's not what I aspire to. And that's why feminism is having a hard time with a lot of women who are realizing that when they give up everything that they naturally want in life to be a feminist, they end up miserable and alone.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. Please don't tell me that I'm sitting here because
can't wait to talk to you.
I'm sitting here because I worked hard.
You'll be
I was
next.
personally responsible. I'm not sitting here because of feminism. No, I am not sitting here because of any feminist.
Well,
trust me.
So can I ask? Can a man
Yeah, but
ask a question?
feminism is supposed to be about choice, and what radical feminism is actually doing is taking away that choice and making women feel
not.
bad
It's-
about wanting to maybe be the traditional view of what a woman is. There's nothing wrong with having a choice to do both. I don't really understand your point.
No, I agree. Feminism isn't trying to destroy the family. Women can happily be mothers, and they can.
You just said it's
be
emotional
wives.
labor to be married.
It is in some way. There is an imbalance where men.
It's
are going,
not. I don't feel that way. So does that make which one of us is less of a woman? We have different opinions.
What do you mean? Which of us is less?
You're saying that it is, and I'm saying that it's not. We have a differing opinion, and the reason why I don't like feminism is because it basically tells us that we have to feel this way,
No,
that
it
we have to
doesn't.
feel
No, it
bitter
doesn't.
towards
It's
men,
just
towards
trying to
husbands,
make
towards
you
marriage,
aware of
towards
your
children, and
choices.
that's why I'm trying to let you know the feminist movement is considered very radicalized because there are many women, especially conservative women, who just don't feel that way. We don't feel burdened by children and marriage.
Can I give you some facts though to support this? No, you don't want to hear from a man. Okay. Wait, you see how things get really dangerous and you start to generalize men and women all of a sudden, like you did?
I just wanted to continue the conversation
ahead.
that I was
Okay,
having
you can
with
talk to
Candace.
Candace.
You jumped
We'll talk
in
about
with your
facts later. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
I understand that some women want a family and they want to be mothers. I completely respect that. But all feminism is doing is telling you that you do have a choice. And I don't believe radical feminism is pushing women into hating the family. It's just suggesting that maybe this doesn't have to be your lot. And some women have internalized values that make them think that this is what they want when really they might not.
So you can
I
read
really
minds.
do want a husband and children one day.
Okay,
So,
that's fine,
but
and
what
I
I'm saying to you is the
respect
reason
that.
why I don't like feminism is because feminists think feminism is mandatory. The second you find out that a girl doesn't identify as a feminist, you're up here and you're asking a bunch of questions. I don't like the feminist movement. I think it's become very toxic and very hostile towards men. If you believed in the equality that men and that women should be able to think whatever we wanted, you
With the way feminism is going now, feminism is the actual toxic field. It's the actual toxicity that we're campaigning against. Feminism now has to do with if you don't support what the feminist is saying, if you don't support hating men, if you don't support not wanting to remain single for the rest of your life, automatically you're a pick me. If you don't support not having a husband, if you don't support not having a man in your life or something, automatically you're a pick me. That is not what feminism is all about. If we cannot stick to what feminism was actually meant to be, I don't think we should even have the feminism movement again.
I feel why most women hate men is because they've been with the bad ones.
Yes.
You understand? Or they were raised up in a bad family
Yeah,
background
yeah,
and
yeah.
all that. So I feel why this feminism stuff is growing and growing and growing because a lot of female they go through a lot
Yes.
growing up. They still go through a lot when they get married. Imagine getting married to a wrong man and
Yeah.
all that. So I feel that's where all this ideology is coming from.
If you get married
So-
to a wrong man, I think you have the option of that's why there's a thing called divorce.
Mm.
You can divorce. Let's even say, okay, the man is actually abusive and all of that. You have way that one is a totally is a criminal case now. You have the option of looking for how to survive. But you now deciding that okay, you know what, because of there's some men beat women, some men try to put babies in the woman and make them mothers just to keep them at home. Let's not forget that being a mother it's an amazing thing. Having been praised for the fact that you were able to carry another human being in you and birth that human being and be tagged as the mother is an amazing thing that every woman should be able to experience or should want to experience. So you decide that, you know what, I don't want to experience that because men are evil and men are toxic. That is a totally different ideology on its own, and that's the thing that should not even be said outside. That should not be a thing that should even start a move. That should not be a thing that should even be
That's
a
how.
topic.
Sorry for interrupting, but that's how this LGBTQ starts.
Yeah, that is how it started. Because but from the moment majority of women don't want men anymore, we'll start having this thing of
For their fellow feminists, like
yes,
something like
and I don't think I'm ever going to be attracted to my female of companion. I
that's
don't think
weird.
so.
Like I think 'cause it's a mental.
It becomes a mental issue because there's a reason why even in the religious books that we have, the Bible, the Quran, we don't see anything like women should fight for this fight
Women can marry women.
yes, there's nothing like that. Or we have some women who lead, for example, Deborah in the Bible. We have people that lead, we have queens that led and all of that. That should be the root of feminism. We want to lead. We want to have a right to talk. We want to have a voice. We don't want to be shunned, bullied, violated. That is the core values that we should have. But you saying that, you know what, I don't want to have a man in my life and I feel like you should not have it. For the fact that you want a man in your life, you don't want to be independent, that means that you're a pick me. That means that you're not feminist. That means that you're on the wrong side of women. That it should not be a directive. That should not be a movement.
I think they need to understand that becoming a feminist doesn't mean you can't have a family.
Exactly.
You can still have a family. You can still raise your kids.
Yes, that is even the
So
beautiful
that's-
part of it.
yeah.
You having a beautiful family, a lovely husband, an amazing children. You have your job or your occupation, or you are able to do carry out your dream and still be surrounded with your happy family. That is what feminism should be about. The ability to be able to contain your family and control your family and raise a responsible home.
You can't
That
just,
is what
yeah,
feminism should
yeah.
be about. That is one of the things that feminism should be about.
You can't just use your childhood
Yes,
to predict your future.
yeah, because you
understand?
face some childhood trauma.
Yeah.
We all have our traumas because you face most of your traumas from men, and you hate men for that reason. You should not project your hatred to other women. You should not project your hatred to other people. You could advise, tell your story. Whoever can relate and wants to learn should learn.
I mean, that person stopped being friends with me because she was like, she don't like men stuff. She hates men. She doesn't want to get married and all that. Like, where is that like thought coming from?
It could be that she
Why?
was a victim of, men brutality, maybe rape, bullied, not having a good father figure or something. But it doesn't for the fact that she doesn't want to get married or whatever, that is her choice. It has nothing to do with feminism right now.
But
There's a
she
thing-
like hating me for it, hating her friends.
Then that is what we call
That's what she's
toxicity.
talking about,
Because a lot of
toxicity.
women now, the moment things are not going the women's way, all of a sudden it's already misogyny. Everybody, it's looking like misogyny right now. Why is the woman not president? Obviously, it's misogyny. Have you sat down to think that, what is this woman actually bringing to the table for her to want to become a president? Is she bringing the right things? Is she advising? Or is she advocating for the right things? So let's not even sit down and think, okay, because of I'm a feminist, I'm going to support women all through. Women are bad too. Women are capable of making scary decisions. Women are capable of hurting. Women are capable of murder. If I decide that, you know what, I want to go on a killing spree and kill a lot of men,
Yeah.
I'll be more successful than the man.
She's saying men are women still control men.
We do. Yes, we do. Just our nakedness
Women
alone, and
still-
we're good to
women-
go.
Women still control men. Like I'm like sure about that. Women still control men.
We
a lot
do.
in
Yes, we
marriage.
definitely do.
Anyway, like
Wouldn't be debating you right now. You'd say, well, more power to you because you'd be a true feminist, but you're not. You're trying to.
belittling other women.
I'm
by
not belittling them.
by not
You're allowed to be a
engaging in
feminist. I'm not telling
feminism.
you can be a feminist. You could buy a pussy hat if you left today, and I wouldn't mind. I've never had an issue with people that are feminists. I have an issue when people tell me that I now have to be a feminist, or that it's complete bullshit when I say that I think it's harmful to keep telling men that masculinity is wrong. Masculinity is a component of being a man. I think a society needs and thrives on strong men. There's never been a society without strong men. There's never been a society without strong men. And because I support that, you're upset and you're calling bullshit. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with strong men? Why does that make you upset?
I just think that the values, you referenced the Gillette advert, all it was saying was, the message was fundamentally just stop being violent.
No, it
wasn't.
No,
In your view.
Little toddlers.
There were parts
boys
of it-
will be boys. Boys tend to be reckless. They tend to punch each other and wrestle each other. That's a healthy, necessary part of the child development process. Trying to demonize that in the parental guidelines that Gillette was trying to have in a 30-second to a minute ad is toxic feminism,
That is toxic
attacking
feminism.
toxic masculinity. So let me give you some examples super quick. So you say, that's not what feminism wants. The predominant viewpoint in the university now in the States and the UK is an anti-male posture, whether it be papers that literally say abolish men, whether it be books that say the problem with men. You're looking at me funny. The Huffington Post publishes at least a weekly piece that says that men should have a less powerful role in
Cancel
society.
white men.
Cancel white men is a common theme. The Me Too movement. Oh, so you agree with it? Okay.
The men have done
Wait,
a
can you
lot
repeat what you
historically.
just said?
They've won every single war, every freedom that we have
Can
in
you
society
repeat what
is
you
because
just
of
said?
men.
I said it's because white men have historically done so much shit. They're just
So
asking
you
you to
do
stop
agree
for
with the
once.
anti-male posture. So your
No,
true
I
radical
don't. I
feminism
don't
comes
agree
out
with it.
after 10 minutes of cross-examination. Before you said, I have no problem with men. Now you said
you're
it's
saying
because
you
white
do.
men have done a lot of shit.
Yeah, but-
Now we get to revealing who you really are,
But
which
that
is
is
a
what
hateful,
feminism is.
angry person.
They just hate men. There is no other
No,
platform.
They don't hate men. They're just.
You just
there's
said-
no problem. There is no problem with analyzing the actions of men in history and condemning them.
You mean like
What
winning
about all the
World
good
War II?
ones?
You know the ones
What
who
about all
died
the good
for our
ones?
freedom, so that's wrong. We can't do that.
Like defeating the
Or,
Nazis?
or people, men who had inventions, anything that men have invented, we can't use anymore.
Slavery
So there-
wasn't
there's-
ended in America because
no, but there's
women were
positives and
fighting.
negatives.
It's complete hyperbole.
What about all of the good? What about all the good things? Everything that we have in society, every war that was fought and won was because of men. Do you ever think
Half
about
the
that?
wars were unnecessary anyway. I mean, wars
they
that
happen,
we fought
though.
and
Now
won.
we're spiraling.
Yeah,
Now we're
and
spiraling.
But they
guns
happen
were
and then
men.
fought in them.
So what they won was that they started unnecessarily.
Yeah, women have
They
never
to be
started
contr-
wars, but wars have never been fought over women in this country. That never happened, Henry VIII. Right? What's the point?
Because he was an adulterer. I mean, that's a terrible example.
Do you
What,
think
wanted
that
to
that
shag
women? Let me
around
ask you a
and have a
question.
male
Do you
heir.
think
That's an
women can
awful
have done
example.
anything wrong, or that women can do anything wrong? Like, would you have been okay if there was like a strict razor commercial like about toxic femininity? Would that have been okay with you?
Can you tell me what you think toxic femininity
Accusing
is?
men of things that never happen and
Yeah.
calling it sexual
Like
assault?
what?
Like Brett Kavanaugh?
He is an awful man and a rapist.
Wait, he's a what? He's an honorable
awful man. An
Hon-
awful man.
Honorable?
I said awful.
Prove it.
What?
We have facts. Name one fact of anything awful he's ever done.
He raped someone.
because
You mean-
she said
A
so.
yeah, show me
wait,
some
hold on.
evidence.
Because she said so.
That wasn't even a trial in a court. It was in front of a.
So
bunch
why
of-
isn't there a trial in the court? Why didn't she go file it?
Why didn't she file a police report?
Because
She
there
can't
was no
remember the
evidence.
date, time, place, no witnesses.
We have this culture, this toxic culture where women aren't.
The same
believed.
culture leads to
Okay.
people like Jussie Smollett then faking a hoax because you have to be
Bingo.
a victim.
Or-
No, you can't then sit here and say that without facts that you can say he's a rapist, but then Jussie Smollett can get away with saying there was people shouting, "This is Trump country, we're going to beat you up," without facts. You either have facts for both, or you can't just leave them.
Why did he feel necessary to do that?
Okay,
Because
can
he
I
wants
ask
to
you-
start a race war.
Evident that-
Can I
He
just? I
wants
want
to
to
put
ask you a last
people against
question.
each other.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think? So now we're getting. Now this is why I don't support feminism, by the way. Because do you believe in the concept that women should just be believed absent facts? Because that was the Christine Blasey Ford thing. There was not a single fact. Do you think that women should be believed absent facts if they say that they were raped and assaulted?
Not without fact, but I think there should be a culture of belief. If someone comes forward and says, a man or a woman comes forward and says something has happened to them, that they should be given the time to be heard and to
She was
speak
heard.
of their experience.
Okay, but I
Not
just
by
hold
a
on.
court, not by a
Rule of
judge,
law.
not by legal
Then why didn't she
professionals.
submit a police report?
At the time.
She
She
never
still
did.
hasn't.
Because there is a culture of disbelief, because she was in an
But she
important
had no evidence.
position.
There's no statute of limitations for rape in Maryland. She could file a police report today. It's because she made up the entire thing.
No, she didn't.
Why doesn't she know the time, the place, no corroborating witnesses? Her story changed 8 times. None of her friends said it ever happened or she ever talked about it once before. Everything about her life story changed at least 6 times. And 2 of the women that came forward and said that something happened are actually under criminal conviction for making up the entire thing. They never met her once before. This was a con job to try to displace United States Supreme Court
It was a political
justice.
hit job. It really was. But I do want to say this to you, and something for you to just consider, because I think we should wrap this up, because I don't think you're ever going to not be a feminist, and I'm never going to be one, right? But it's really important when you start getting into that slippery slope of believe women, and I talk about this particularly to minority America, because we've learned our lesson the hardest with this, and I think radicalized feminism, when I did an interview, I said it was the closest thing to white supremacy I've ever seen is radicalized feminism. The concept of just believing a woman because she said something is the direct thing that led to all of our ancestors getting lynched in America. When white women would just say that something happened, okay? And we were supposed to magically believe it. Our ancestors were then chased after, put into cars, Emmett Till, everything that happened in America happened because white women should just be believed. So you will never, ever, ever hear me stand behind a radicalized concept like just believe women because they're crying. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today.
Thank you.
Would you like to say something?
We women have the tendency to have this emotional outburst when we want people to believe something. We have this dramatic side of us, like I can cry and just want everything to just
Oh my
disappear.
God. I will
want
make you believe me.
exactly, but it doesn't mean that I'm right.
Yeah.
It could be that I am possibly wrong. A lot of men are in prison now, and according to what she said, most of our ancestors suffered a lot and were lynched because of what white women said. A white woman could lie and say, "Oh, this man looked at me wrong and he's killed. This man looked at me this and he's killed."
I've seen someone in prison now.
Yeah, exactly.
That like he was asking this girl, based on the girl is from a powerful family and all that. He's in prison now. He has been in prison for
That is
going to
really-
5 years now.
That is really, really sad.
because
And
he doesn't have.
if we really, really want to talk about
feminism.
feminism is you want to do equality with men, right? You want to have the same rights that they have. It means that there's something bad happens and you accuse the man of doing something wrong, you have to bring evidence. We cannot just believe it because you're a woman. We cannot just believe it because you cry and show, "Oh, the man hurt me, he raped
Yeah,
me."
she's
You
saying,
have to
yeah.
show proof. Show us evidence. Go to the doctor, file a police report, and show us that really, really this thing happened. And this whole ideology of feminism, what I totally believe is that if it cannot be done the right way, which is driving for women's rights to work, women's rights to talk, vote, and also be voted for, to have a say in the society, anything other than that should be eradicated. I don't think there's any need for feminism or whatever. Everybody is just doing whatever they want because of how they feel, not because of what they think. Because if we were to sit down and think about it, nope, the men are going to win us. Let's stop making fool of ourselves.
Men. How is that possible?
It's not possible. It's not possible. How would we feel if the men come up and say, "You know
How
what,
can
we don't
women
need women
rule?
anymore"?
How?
Because if you look at it we can't even compare to men in any way. In strength, in leadership, we can't compare. No matter how strong you want to be as a woman, you need a man. Mentally, physically, you need. Let's keep the financial part aside. We need men. Men need us. We both need each other. We want to work together with men. We want to coexist. We want to have the opportunity to work, vote, become a president, talk in the parliament. Fine. But totally eradicating men and saying what a man says is less important or whatever a man says is not relevant, that is where it is wrong. That is why the drive and the movement of feminism is dying. That is why nobody wants to become a feminist anymore, because you are telling us to hate men. You're telling us to, whenever a man says something, we should just look at it as misogyny. Please do not forget to like, comment, and share, and also subscribe to our channel. Anyways, that's all for today. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about the whole toxic masculinity. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.